Would you like to play one of the most complete but also simple, straightforward characters in Marvel Tōkon? Then look no further than Captain America. And in this video, I'm gonna teach you how to play Cap, going over his neutral, offensive pressure mix-ups, and even Oki setups and his combo theory and logic so you can build your own combo routes with Cap. Of course, if you enjoy this type of content, please consider giving it a like and subscribing to the channel, and let me know in the comments which other guys you want to see in the channel for Marvel Tōkon. And now let's go right into how to play Captain America. And well, the first thing we gotta talk about when it comes to trying to understand how to play Cap in this game is the neutral. So how do you play neutral with Captain America? Number one, you need to use his firewalls, okay? This is quarter circle forward light and quarter circle forward medium. They are horizontal and diagonal firewalls respectively, and if you do them in the air, it is the same thing. And why is this so important with Cap? Because this character actually has, I would say, very decent zoning kind of like potential. If you use the firewalls and you call assists that are also another projectile to extend that pressure, it gives you potentially full combos from full screen if you actually get a firewall hit, which is really good. I'm doing very basic combos, by the way, super basic combos, and you can get super high damage from it, relatively like 50-60% from a firewall interaction if you actually have the right assist to extend it into a full combo. And also, if they block this right and you have the assist, it still gives you a full turn after they block the actual, firewall assist alongside your shield. So that is the first thing. Then the second thing is that you need to use forward unique, okay? This is arguably the best unique attack that Cap has to play neutral because it throws a shield and it ricochets on the walls, right? But specifically, it actually attacks the opponent from the back, and you have a long time to run behind the shield and get on your opponent's face. So if they actually get hit by this, by the forward unique, you can get a full combo from it, right? And it's not even that hard to actually connect it or everything. And if they block the forward unique, right, when you're in the ground, you actually get a turn because you're gonna be plus on their face, and then you can run your pressure, maybe do a block string, do a mix-up, and call assist to extend the pressure and so on. So that is the first layer, in my opinion, of Captain America's neutral, just using quarter circle forward firewalls and also forward unique in combination with your assist, ideally with a projectile style assist, so either you get full combos from it or you actually have any sort of opportunity to extend it, into a combo interaction with the right assist. And also, if they actually block it, you still get a turn because you're going to be very plus on their face. And then there are two other things that I would also consider important with Captain America to play neutral. The first one is using quarter second back light and also quarter second back medium, but mostly light, I would say. And why is this important? Because this is kind of like the only neutral skip attack that Captain America has, and it is pretty decent in range. Like, it is a bit more than round start range, right? And if you actually have an assist, you can confirm it, active tag, right, and get a full combo with your other character. And even if you don't want active tag, most of the time, you can still get a combo from this, which is really good. You don't even need to use another character, right? And I would say that most of the time you can get either a safe block string because of doing this, or a full combo route, just like I'm showing right now. Later, I'm going to talk about more advanced combos and optimize them, but for now, it's just an example. So that is another thing that is important. Just be ready to maybe in this range, sometimes actually do this, doing your quarter circle back light instead of running into a button or also throwing the firewall into an assist. Sometimes it's better if you do your quarter circle forward light, hold the assist, the lariat assist to actually extend it, and then you run behind it to get the full combo and actually, get some damage or get pressure with a string. And then the last thing is actually your normals. Captain America has pretty decent range normals. Like, for example, his stand medium is really good. It has like a relatively late active hitbox, so he kind of like moves forward if you do it after running, right? And it is pretty big in terms of range if you actually run and then press the button. That is a stand medium. And then also you have a stand heavy. It covers a lot of range because he does this like forward momentum attack with his shield. So that is another thing you need to understand about Cap. He has pretty decent kind of like mid-range footsies. And then again, you can confirm this into quarter circle back light, you call on assist, get your full combo and stuff of that sort. So that is, I would say, the general game plan of Captain America in neutral. It's a mixture of your firewalls, right, your forward unique, and also your firewalls in the air, right? And then also in the mid screen, either neutral skipping with quarter circle back light or running into doing stand medium or stand heavy and then run your block string or doing a full combo if they actually get hit. That is the bread and butter of Cap's neutral, and is, I would say, all that you need to play the character. And then as a last point, more kind of like advanced and not that necessary in comparison to everything else, but I still want to mention it, is that you gotta remember that you can press unique again when the shield is coming back to actually throw it again. Most of the time this is not that good, but in the context in which it is pretty strong is if you do it in the air, because for example, you can throw the shield, the unique, right? And then you jump and actually press the unique again in the air. And that transforms the entire sequence of the shield ricocheting, in the walls, or you doing a regular fireball into an actual diagonal fireball in the air after. And that is really oppressive if you use it correctly. And I would say that most of the time it's really good if you do it, for example, after doing an air fireball, you jump again and you do another one. It's really, really strong. And if you hit somebody with this, it can actually give you a full combo, right? If you just mash like the assist, after hitting somebody with the new version of the attack that you get from pressing the unique again, you can get full combos, but you do need to kind of like mash the assist. It's hard to just react to this, consistently all the time. Most of the time, you're just gonna be mashing the assist to get the lariat as a confirmation of, the shield hitting your opponent, and then you get the full combo and do, whatever you want. I'm just doing a random combo, but you get the idea. And that is, Captain America's neutral overall. Just the fireballs, the neutral skips, right? Then also the unique, and then on top of all of that, the mid-range normals that he has that are really good. And in a more advanced note, how to use the, unique to send the shield again when you actually are in the air, and you can transform it into another diagonal fireball. Okay, so now that we have already talked about neutral with Cap, we can move into his pressure and also his mix-ups, because this character, I would say, has better offense than a lot of people think. It's just that maybe it's not as obvious as other characters like Black Panther or Spider-Man, right? But Captain America arguably has a 50-50 mix-up in his moveset, like integrated into his special moves, because, for example, if you do your down-down input and we set up Iron Man to block, he crouch blocks, because this is a low, okay? The first hit of this attack is actually a low. Either the light, the medium, or the heavy version, all of them are actually a low. And then if you do the quarter second back heavy, it is an overhead. So that means that you can end any block string, like for example, a stand medium or crouch medium into stand heavy, and then you can do either a low or an overhead at the end of your string. So there is a 50-50 kind of like potential with the character by just using the down-down input or using your quarter second back heavy, which is your overhead. So that is the first layer of pressure that you need to understand about the character, outside of course, doing very basic things like doing stand medium or even light, medium, heavy, a special into calling an assist, right? And then running another block string. And ideally, you need to call a normal assist, not the one that is like the universal lariat assist, this one, because that is not actually as plus on block as people think, and you can just get mashed out of your own block string after. So you need to do, for example, forward an assist to get a fireball, right? Or another type of assist, and then you run behind it and do another block string. So that is the most basic layer of pressure with Cap. Either doing your block strings into an assist after throwing a special move, or you do the block string into low or the block string into overhead. And the thing is, I would say most of the time, you are going to open up people on defense with your overhead, with quarter second back heavy. Especially if you're calling like a lot of assists and there's a lot of like visual clutter on the screen, you can do the, quarter second back heavy, and people, it's kind of like hard for them to see it. So I would say that even, in situations when you are doing your block strings and you think that they're not gonna get actually hit by the overhead, just call your assists, create like a little bit, visual clutter if you can, and then actually do the overhead, and it's gonna be really hard for them to see it. And then the other thing that you need to learn is actually that Cap has a really decent cross-up attack, because if you're close to your opponent and you do an air dash and then you press jump medium, it actually kind of like auto-corrects into a jump in from the other side, and you get a really, really good cross-up attack. And I would say that this is one of the most kind of like underrated cross-ups in the game, because it also connects into a combo very consistently. Like Cap is one of those characters that for some reason has like extra hit stun in his jump medium. So if you do jump medium as a cross-up, right from the ground, kind of like as an instant air dash, you do jump into your air dash macro, right? You just press the macro instead of pressing forward twice to get it right away, and you press medium and then medium in the ground. It just connects. Like, it works most of the time, to not just say like 100% if you actually execute it right, and you can get full combos from this. So it is really, really strong as a mix-up ability or opportunity with the character. And I would say that the only way to run this consistently is, for example, that you do really short block strings. Your opponent is gonna block, and for example, you do 2 crouch lights into an assist, and then you take the hit stun or the time, the plus frames from the assist to do run up, air dash into the cross up. And then boom, you get the cross, but you're on the other side. And even if they block it, right, you can still run, for example, active tag into this kind of like weird situation after the active tag in which the opponent sometimes doesn't really know if they're gonna hit, you know, left or right. It's kind of like weird because it depends on what you do with the other character. So that is also a more advanced layer of mix-up that you can do with Captain America. Just run short block strings like 2 crouch lights, call an assist, air dash into cross-up, and then you choose when to active tag into your other character, or you maybe just open them up with the actual cross-up right and they get hit by it. And also important to say that if you hit somebody with, for example, the cross-up, after you call the assist, right? Let's say that you call the assist and you hit somebody after this. If you just do like some stuff like, for example, let's say medium and then heavy after the cross-up, you actually don't need to call another assist. You can just active tag into the other character and get a full combo from it. Because they're gonna still be on, you know, hit stun or like actually getting hit by Cap, and then when you active tag it to the other character, you can keep the combo going. So that is the more advanced, maybe kind of like Captain America mix-up that you can think about. And then the last layer of mix-up, I would say, is just a strike throw mix, because at the end of the day, this is a character that has less mix-up than other ones in the game, but you can still always run, for example, stuff like doing crouch light and then run up grab or something like that, right? It's not as bad as people think, especially in the corner, because you can actually do 1 light into this right away and the character runs of it and grabs him, or you can do a couple of lights and then do it and it runs into grab, right? Or you can do it manually, and instead of, you know, just pressing, he doesn't really run and grabs you kind of like right away if you do a dash yourself. So that is kind of like the other layer of mix-up that is very basic. It also is going to work a lot on lower levels of play because people are not going to get ready for the, you know, strike throw, and it's pretty decent. So that is, I would say, how do you run your offense with Cap. Just the first layer is your regular block strings into assist and then extended. The second layer is ending your block strings with an actual high-low. So for example, you end with down-down input or with quarter single back heavy. And then the last kind of like more advanced layer is you do very short strings into assist and then air dash into cross-up and open up people with this. It's probably the best mix-up that the character has, to be honest, because people are not going to be ready for the cross-up kind of like overheads, especially at the lower levels of play. So it's gonna be quite strong if you can actually get this down relatively, you know, consistently, and even then do the active tag after and all of that. So that is, I would say, Captain America's offense, mix-up, and pressure, and the most kind of like important things you gotta learn to open up people on defense. Now we move into another part of the video that is related to offense, but I wanted to separate it from the block strings and the mix-ups because it is mostly about Oki in the corner, and that's why my camera is on the other side of the screen, because I want to talk about Oki. I think that it's really important in this game, especially with Cap that has really good Oki setups with his shield. So number one thing you gotta understand is that if you don't get the combo limit, if you don't get, you know, the red part of the combo limit in which the game actually gives you like extra plus frames, right? You do your combo, you're in the max combo limit, you do another special move. This is the only context in which you can do shield setups with the character as Oki. Any other situation, the shield setup is probably fake or not as good as you think. So if you get Oki from like a regular throw, for example, just for backdash a bit, right? Because people are probably gonna do a wake-up roll forward. You just backdash and then do a normal and run your pressure or whatever. And if you think they're going to do any defensive mechanic, you need to be aware of that and try to deal with it. I have another video in which I talk on how to deal with, for example, the universal overhead, how to deal with the backdash that the game has that is invincible, how to deal also with crossover reflect. I have another video on that is called like 5 tips you must know about Marvel Tōkon, and the first one is all about that, so go check out that if you don't know what to do against that. But if we're talking about a person that is just going to wake up and block or maybe mash a light, you need to run your offense on the most conservative way possible if you don't get the combo limit. Now, if you do get the combo limit, you can run very crazy setups with this character because you can use the shield to extend the pressure, right? And you do stuff like this, for example. And then you throw the shield again with the unique because it's coming back. So you can do something like that, right? After the combo limit, you backdash twice. If you think they're gonna forward roll, then you do jump unique, heavy, into unique again, and then you call an assist and keep extending the pressure. And if you actually hit them, you can get a full combo from it, of course. And that's the most basic, I would say, kind of like setup with the character. Just get your combo limit down, right? Then you do whatever, multiple backdash, unique, and then you make it with, or make it, sorry, bounce with the actual assist. I didn't do it correctly there. Let me do it again. So we do this, right? Another special move, double backdash, boom, heavy, unique again, call on assist, extended pressure, you active tag, stuff like that. So that is going to be something that I would say you want to learn with Cap if you really want to get most of the character, because a lot of people are going to get hit by this setup, and it's actually quite strong if you get it down, because people are not going to be ready for this type of stuff on defense, especially at the lower ranks, and it's going to be important for you to get it down. It can be a bit tough. I'm actually not doing it that consistently as you're watching, but it is not impossible. So just try to get on the lab, and get it down after you actually understand how to play the character and the most like basic stuff. And you're gonna get things like this later when you get better at the game. Just be patient, but you're gonna learn it over time. So that is some Oki kind of like details that you gotta learn about the game with Cap that to me are important if you're really gonna get the most, out of the character. And well, now we move into the last part of the video, which is about combos. And I don't want to just give you, some combos for you to imitate. I'm gonna actually explain to you the rules of the combos with this character so you can create your own combo route. So rule number one is that just like any other character in the game, really, you can do combos just with normals and then call an assist, right? Extended, maybe do quarter second back, quarter second back light by the end with Cap to get the wall if you have it, or get the transition. And that's it. That's everything you need with the character at the start. Nothing else. You can do down, medium, medium, heavy. And for example, then you jump and do medium, heavy jump, medium, heavy, quarter second back if you actually have the height to do it, right? And then you call an assist and literally do the same thing again, or something very, very similar. So that is layer 1 of Captain America's combos. Then if you actually want to add an EX move into all of this, most of the time mid-screen or corner to corner, you are going to do an EX DP to actually extend the combo. And you're going to do something like, for example, down, medium, medium, heavy, and then EX DP. And you actually have time to pick people up when they're going down, after the DP. So for example, you do this into forward heavy, and then you get a re-jump combo. You call an assist, right? Get the wall. And then if you want, you can do a super if you have the meter and stuff of that sort, and you get 50% damage. It's pretty decent, and it doesn't use that many resources. And the way that I'm doing this is that I do the XDP, then I do forward heavy into down heavy. But you do need to wait a lot to actually get this. You have more time than you think to do the forward heavy while you're falling from the XDP, because if you do it too early, then your down medium is not going to actually work to get the other part of the combo extension. And that is the second layer of Captain America's combos, how to add one EX move and maybe a super by the end to do more damage. The other thing you can do is only if you don't, put the opponent in the air, if they're not airborne. For example, maybe you only hit them with stand medium into stand heavy, then you can actually do down, down heavy. And it gives you another style of combo with one EX move. This is actually arguably a bit more consistent than the other combo route, but it does require you to actually not have the opponent in the air, which is, something that is not going to happen maybe that often. Like a lot of the time, you will get combos that put the opponent airborne, and there you're going to need to actually do your EXZP combo route, to get it down. Just practice it. It depends, on the height. It's going to be a bit hard at the start, especially with the variations on the height of the opponent. So do not think that it is that easy in comparison to maybe other characters and other combo routes. It can be a bit hard. Just try to, spend some time in training mode and get the combos down with the EXDP and the pickup with forward heavy. Like you're seeing right here, I'm actually, whiffing a couple of them or a lot of them because it is not as easy as it may seem. And maybe it is better for you to get the easy combos down first before doing stuff like that. And then after all of this, after you get the most basic combos only with normals and then calling the universal assist and doing very basic things and then doing quarter second back, light at the end to get the wall or stuff like that. And also maybe you start adding the EX moves, right? After you do all of this stuff, you can think about the more advanced combos, which are the ones in which you use the unique in between combos by doing stuff like this, right? This is kind of like the more advanced bread and butter for Captain America, and when you actually use the ricochet of the shield in the combo, then maybe you do an EX move by the end, right? You extend it yourself. You don't even need to call assist to actually get corner-to-corner conversions. It's really strong if you actually get this down, at least in terms of corner carry. It can be quite good. Maybe you call one assist to just get the wall, and then boom, you get wall-to-wall combo conversions, which is really, really good. So the way that you do this more advanced combo is you can either get this by doing stand medium or crouch medium as a starter. Also, for example, from lights, you can also do it from light attacks. And after, you just do heavy, okay? You do a couple of mediums and then stand heavy. You cannot do down heavy in this combo route because it makes it really inconsistent. It's better if you only do a couple of mediums and then stand heavy when they are already airborne. And then after that, you jump and do heavy into forward heavy, okay? So medium, crouch, medium, right, stand heavy, and then jump into heavy and forward heavy. And then here you do down unique, and that's gonna cause the bounce from the unique, and you're gonna go back to the ground. So that allows you to actually have time to jump again, press heavy twice, and unique again. And in that way, you get this kind of like re-jump style combo, and by the end, you're hitting the opponent with the ricochet of the shield again, and you can keep the combo going. Generally, if you really want to extend the combo, you do have to do an EX move after the ricochet of the shield, or it doesn't really work, because the combo is just literally gonna end by that point, right? You can do something like this, and then you get a more advanced combo. That's kind of like the more, I would say, expert style combo route with Captain America, but it doesn't mean that it's always the best, actually. I would say that sometimes it is actually better to do something like this, because it does a lot of damage, very similar damage or even more, and it can allow you to have better corner carry than maybe other combos. You do something like this, right? Maybe you do another EX move here, then you call on assist. It is arguably potentially better damage and more like usage of our resources in a more efficient way. But if you really want to do the more advanced and cool combos, which I understand, they are really, really nice, that's how you do them. You know, like I was explaining before, just a couple of mediums, stand heavy, into then jump, heavy forward, heavy, down unique. And then you jump again and do heavy, heavy unique. And then whatever you want. You have a lot of time there to do another move. It can be an X move, another normal, or whatever, you know? And that's kind of like the combo theory of Captain America. That's the way in which you do more damage, you extend your combos, and you get the pressure going when it comes to trying to get the health bar of your opponent down as much as you can when you actually hit them. And if you get, you know, if you want to get like the max damage combos with this character, a lot of the time it requires to call a lot of assists. So for example, you can do something like this, right? You call an assist heavy, and then you do the crazier, like more advanced combo, down heavy, EXZP. Then you, for example, do something to get the wall and actually get kind of like the max damage conversion. But you do need to use assists to get, you know, the most out of the combos in this game, or it will be very hard. And it still is not even necessarily that much damage if you don't use multiple assists. Here I'm only, you know, using one to get the corner to corner combo conversion, and it is still just 50%. That's kind of like the combo theory of the character, what you need to learn and understand to do combos and create your own combo routes. I almost forgot, but also you do have an EX move in the air that helps you to do combos, but it only works really well at the wall. If you have the wall, or you have like close to a transition, you can do only one heavy in the air and then quarter stick it back heavy, and then you can do stand medium and keep the combo going in whatever way you want. Here I'm just standing it in the most like basic way possible. You get the idea. That is the other thing that maybe you need to add to your arsenal if you want to extend more combos. So yeah, that was the video, the guide. I hope that it was useful, that it helped you to learn how to play Captain America. And of course, I'm going to try to put more guides for other characters. Let me know in the comments maybe which other characters you want to see getting a guide. Thank you for watching. Like and subscribe if you enjoyed, like I said, and see you on the next guide. Take care.